On February 14, 2019, 19-year-old Leah Croucher left her home around 6 p.m., telling her family she was going to visit a friend. Just 15 minutes earlier, she had changed the settings on her phone. Police suspect she turned off location tracking. Wherever she was going, Leah wanted it to remain private. This theory gained even more weight when it was discovered that Leah never went to see her friend at all. Her whereabouts between 6 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. that night remain completely unknown. To some online sleuths, this secret meeting may have been the catalyst for what happened next. The following morning, February 15th, Leah left for work. CCTV footage captured her walking down Buzzacott Lane in First and Milton Keynes at 8:15 a.m. This was the last confirmed sighting of her. After Leah was reported missing, 3 separate witnesses came forward, claiming they had seen her between 9:30 and 11:15 a.m. near First and Lake. All 3 described her as being on her phone. 2 even reported that she appeared visibly upset as she spoke. However, these sightings have never been definitively confirmed to be Leah. Despite this, authorities believe they are credible. Leah's family quickly reported her missing, and an extensive investigation was launched into her sudden and uncharacteristic disappearance. Police went door to door, visiting over 4,000 homes across Milton Keynes. Specialist teams, drones, and helicopters were deployed in the search for the missing teenager. By October 2019, marine and dive teams searched lakes across town, spending 2 weeks scouring First and Lake and the surrounding areas. But they found nothing. No items belonging to Leah, no answers, no clues. Leah was described as a homebody, a girl who preferred reading fantasy fiction and spending time with family over nights out at clubs or pubs. However, as the investigation progressed, her family revealed something troubling. In recent months, Leah had changed. She had become moody, withdrawn, and argumentative, often sulking alone in her room for hours. At the time, her parents assumed this was simply part of being a teenager. But then they discovered the real reason. Leah had been secretly seeing an older man. He was 27 years old and engaged to another woman. This man was investigated by police, but authorities do not consider him a suspect. He has an alibi for the time Leah disappeared. Despite this, Leah's family remains suspicious. In May 2019, her older brother Hayden was issued a restraining order after threatening the man. That same month, he posted on social media, claiming this man had groomed and mistreated Leah. In February 2020, Leah's father, John Croucher, spoke publicly, saying he believed a man was withholding key information about the case. He called this person selfish and said the situation was destroying his family. He even threatened to name the man publicly if he did not come forward. Although it is unclear if John was referring to Leah's boyfriend, many believe he was. Detective Chief Inspector Andy Howard of Thames Valley Police acknowledged that some people likely know more about Leah's life than they are admitting. However, he was less convinced that these individuals knew why she disappeared. For a brief time in May 2019, police investigated whether a severed foot found in Lincolnshire could belong to Leah, but this theory was later ruled out. Leah's case remains open and active. A recent anniversary appeal brought in 20 new reports of possible sightings and information from various locations across the UK. Yet, to this day, Leah's phone and bank accounts have remained completely inactive since the moment she vanished. Where is Leah Croucher, and who really knows the truth? Rebecca Corium was born in Chester, England. A 24-year-old with a bright future ahead of her, she had completed a sports science degree and an additional course in youth studies before applying for a position on a Disney cruise ship in 2010. It was a highly competitive role, with hundreds of applicants vying for the job. But Rebecca succeeded. After training at Disney theme parks in Florida, she spent 4 months on cruises to the Bahamas, before returning home to the UK for 2 months to spend time with friends and family. Shortly after going back to work, tragedy struck. Her grandfather passed away. Rebecca flew home again for 2 weeks. This was the last time her family ever saw her. By March 21, 2011, Rebecca had been back at work for about 6 weeks. The cruise ship, Disney Wonder, had set sail from Los Angeles, embarking on its usual route. She had been on this route before. That evening, she messaged her parents on Facebook, telling them she'd call the next day. That message was the last anyone ever received from her. Rebecca's mother replied, but grew concerned when hours passed with no response. By 9 a.m., the Wonder was off the coast of Mexico, and Rebecca had missed the start of her shift. Crew members searched for her. She was not in her room. She was not anywhere on the ship. Her belongings were still in her cabin, her passport, her clothes, even a pair of ripped shorts. The crew called for her over the tannoy system. Silence. The only clue to her disappearance came from CCTV footage. At 5:45 a.m., Rebecca was seen in the crew area, talking on an internal phone. She looked distressed. She was wearing what appeared to be men's clothing. Someone approached her, asking if she was okay. Rebecca forced a smile and replied, "Yeah, fine." She hung up the phone, walked away, ran a hand through her hair, then put her hands in her back pockets, a mannerism her parents instantly recognized as hers. That was the last known sighting of Rebecca Corium. Since the Wonder is registered in the Bahamas, the case was handled by the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Only one detective was sent to investigate. No passengers were interviewed. Only a few crew members were spoken to. The detective spent just 1 day on the ship before flying back. The official explanation: the ship's captain told Rebecca's parents he believed she was washed overboard by a wave while at the crew pool. However, when a journalist investigated this claim, he found that while many of the crew members agreed, he himself had doubts. Instead, he theorized that Rebecca slipped from the jogging track on Deck 4, where the railings were low. But there was a problem with both theories. Disney Wonder is covered in CCTV cameras, yet not a single piece of footage captured Rebecca falling overboard. Does Disney or the Bahamian authorities know more than they are saying? Many crew members believe so. The only evidence ever found was a pair of flip-flops near the crew pool, but they didn't belong to Rebecca. Another crew member's name and cabin number were written on them, and the walls around the crew pool are extremely high, making it highly unlikely that she simply fell overboard. To this day, Rebecca Corium's whereabouts remain unknown. Her case remains open and unsolved. Described by friends and family as a warm, friendly girl who loved to have fun, 35-year-old Claudia Lawrence had an active social life and a successful career as a chef at Goodricke College, University of York. On March 18, 2009, Claudia returned home from work and exchanged text messages with her mother between 8 p.m. and 8:30 p.m., making plans for the upcoming Mother's Day. Her last message was sent at 8:23 p.m. 2 days later, Claudia's father, Peter Lawrence, reported her missing when she failed to show up for work. Police searched her house in Melrose Gate, York, but found nothing out of place. Her passport and bank cards were still at home. Her bed was made. Dirty dishes sat in the sink and her toothbrush lay on the draining board. The only things missing were Claudia's mobile phone, a Samsung D900, and her gray and blue Caramore backpack, which she carried to work and often packed with her chef's whites. One early issue with the investigation, which quickly turned into a suspected homicide case within just 6 weeks, was that Claudia had recently dyed her hair from blonde to brown. As police circulated older photos showing her with blonde hair, it was speculated that potential witnesses may have seen her but didn't recognize her due to the change in appearance. As authorities delved deeper into Claudia's personal life, they suggested that she had been living a secret life, allegedly having relationships with multiple men, including at least one who was married. Some of these men were rumored to have criminal connections, leading investigators to suspect that Claudia may have been involved with dangerous individuals. However, none of these men were publicly named, and the media quickly painted Claudia as reckless and irresponsible, overshadowing the efforts to find out what had really happened to her. Several reported sightings of Claudia came in after her disappearance, but the most compelling evidence remains CCTV footage. While Claudia herself was captured on camera leaving work on March 18th, another crucial piece of footage showed an unidentified man in dark clothing entering the alley behind Claudia's house at around 7:15 p.m. The man disappears from view for about a minute before re-emerging, possibly carrying a bag, though poor lighting makes it difficult to tell. A similar-looking figure is seen again at 5 a.m., leading investigators to question whether it was the same person returning hours later. 5 years after Claudia vanished, advances in forensic technology allowed experts to recover a partial fingerprint from her home and a cigarette butt with DNA evidence from her car. The cigarette was an Embassy Regal brand, believed to belong to a left-handed smoker, yet both the DNA and fingerprint remain unidentified. Over the years, several arrests have been made in connection with Claudia's case, but all suspects were released without charge due to a lack of evidence, according to the Crown Prosecution Service. Many theories about Claudia's fate have circulated online. Some believe she was murdered by a married lover or his spouse, while others think she disappeared voluntarily. One baseless theory suggests she was involved in drugs, while another links her case to convicted murderer Chris Hallowell. More than a decade later, Claudia's parents are still searching for answers and justice. Though her case remains open, the investigation has been significantly scaled back, and only a small team continues to work on it. Georgina Gasella was born on October 29, 1987. She was the middle daughter of Andrea Gasella and her ex-husband, a man named Qasim, who had originally come to the United Kingdom from Libya. Although born in England, Georgina spent much of her childhood in Libya before the family relocated back to Britain. During her high school years, she fell in with the wrong crowd, and from then on, she began to lose her way. Even in adulthood, Georgina remained unreliable. She struggled to hold down a steady job, despite being described as intelligent. Her family also knew she battled an eating disorder and binge drinking. Described as someone who loved cooking, meditation, and running, the 30-year-old was a devoted mother of two. At the time of her disappearance, she was staying in Worthing, West Sussex, with her mother Andrea, following a breakup with the father of her two sons. On the morning of March 7, 2018, Andrea Gasella recalled seeing her daughter before she left the house, straightening her hair around 8 a.m. She described Georgina as being a bit agitated that morning. Her phone wasn't working properly, and she planned to take it to a local shop to have it checked. After that, she intended to visit the job center and then meet her father. Before she left, Georgina's mother gave her an old mobile phone, which required a new SIM card. Georgina also asked to borrow some money. Andrea hesitated but ultimately gave in and handed over the cash. She watched as her daughter walked out the door, never realizing it would be the last time she'd see her. Georgina was captured on CCTV at the local shop around 9:30 a.m. The footage shows her laughing and joking with the shop attendants while inquiring about her phone. This is the last confirmed sighting of the 30-year-old. After that, her movements became a mystery. It took 10 days before Georgina was officially reported missing. There was initial confusion about her whereabouts. Her mother assumed she had gone to stay with friends, believing Georgina was upset with her for hesitating to give her money that morning. However, around March 12th, Georgina's ex-boyfriend called Andrea, saying he hadn't been able to reach her. After asking around, Andrea realized that no one had seen or heard from Georgina since March 7th. Georgina never made it to the job center. She never met her father. Police discovered that her phone hadn't been used to send messages since 3 a.m. on March 7th. The last signal from her device pinged off a cell tower between 11:30 and 11:45 a.m. in the Worthing area. Her bank accounts remained untouched. Despite the numerous CCTV cameras around Worthing Town Center, only one other potential recording of Georgina exists, footage from around 3 p.m. on the day she vanished. It appears to show her walking with another woman carrying shopping bags. The identity of this woman remains unknown, and to this day, no one has come forward to name her. In October 2018, Georgina's case was featured on Crime Watch, and Sussex police offered a £5,000 reward for information regarding her whereabouts. Law enforcement interviewed her friends, family, and ex-boyfriends. All were cleared of suspicion. They also searched her home, but found nothing that could push the investigation forward. But Georgina's family refused to sit idly by. They made public appeals, created a Facebook page, distributed flyers, and even staged a reconstruction of her last known movements, desperately trying to bring attention to their missing loved one. A month after Georgina's disappearance, on April 20th, 2018, a witness came forward, claiming to have seen a woman matching her description with two men near a Tesco supermarket on the evening of March 7th. According to the witness, the three seemed to be arguing before leaving together, heading toward the station. Police obtained CCTV footage from the area, but it had been corrupted and couldn't be recovered. To this day, this sighting remains unconfirmed. From this point, the case began to grow cold. In March 2019, Andrea Gasella urged police to search the Tavilgate construction site in Worthing, fearing her daughter's body had been dumped there or that she had suffered some kind of accident. However, the request was denied due to a lack of evidence that Georgina had ever been there. A month later, the Worthing Herald and Sussex police received a ransom note from fraudsters claiming to have Georgina. The letter was quickly debunked, but the disturbing messages didn't stop. Andrea began receiving horrific claims, some stating that Georgina had been butchered and burned by a drug gang, her remains scattered. These messages appeared after Georgina's missing person Facebook page had been hacked. Later, in 2019, authorities reclassified Georgina's case from a missing person investigation to a homicide inquiry. There is no evidence that Georgina is dead, but there is no proof of life either. A weekend away should be fun for all involved, but for the Janssen family, it turned into their worst nightmare. On Friday, February 8, 2019, Yawn Yawn arrived in Dublin, Ireland, a 41-year-old father of 4, excited for what was supposed to be a memorable trip. He had planned to attend and participate in a poker tournament that night before his fiancée joined him the following day, so they could explore the city together over the weekend. Described as a kind, caring, and level-headed man, Jan was a taxi driver originally from Iceland. At the time of his disappearance, he had no other friends or family in Ireland. Those who knew him well insisted he was in good mental health and had been looking forward to the trip. On February 9th at around 10 a.m., Jan's fiancée, Jana, arrived in Dublin. After meeting her partner in their hotel room, she headed down to the bar for a coffee, alone. At some point during this time, Jan left the hotel, but why? That remains a mystery. CCTV footage captured him leaving the Bonington Hotel at 11:05 a.m. He was next seen on camera walking past Murray's Bar at 11:07 a.m., exiting onto Swords Road. The last confirmed sighting of Yawn Yawn was at the exit of Highfield Hospital, heading northbound on Swords Road towards Collins Avenue. After that, he vanished. February 10, 2019, just one day after Jan was last seen, Jana reported him missing. While police were able to track his movements on CCTV, their efforts to retrieve additional footage from other areas in Whitehall proved fruitless. What made his disappearance even more concerning was that Jan had left his passport and belongings at the hotel. However, it is believed he had his room key card, some cash, and possibly even a debit card with him when he left. Yet, police later confirmed that his bank accounts had not been touched since the moment he walked out of the hotel. Adding to the mystery, it was estimated that Jan had lost 4,000 euros in the poker tournament the night before he disappeared. 12 members of Jan's family flew to Ireland as soon as he was reported missing, desperate to help with the investigation and assist in local search efforts. On February 23, 2019, a large-scale search was conducted with the help of 80 volunteers. The Janssen family also appeared on the Irish TV show Crime Call, pleading with the public for information that could help bring Jan home. "We don't understand," his loved ones said. "This isn't like him. Jan doesn't just vanish. They fear he met with foul play." There is very little publicly known about the official police inquiry into Jan's disappearance. However, in December 2019, his family hired a private investigator, Liam Brady, to supplement the investigation and push for answers. The most recent update came in February 2020, when Brady announced that he was hoping to speak to a person of interest, a man currently serving time in a European prison who may have vital information. Jan's family continues to fly to Ireland regularly, organizing further searches, refusing to give up. They are still looking for answers. They are still looking for Yawn Yawn.